Hey, folks, welcome back to Tommy Highway TV Live. I'm always your host, Tommy Highway, and with me today I have my main man, Tim, and I've got also a special guest with us. We've got Thomas. Gentlemen, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone. Look forward to the show.
Okay, this is not a good. This is not going to be a good subject that we're going to discuss because it actually is something that strikes at the very core of our country, of our values as a nation. Okay. What I'm talking about here is the suffocation and suppression of freedom of speech. All right. And that's where we're at, or free speech, I should say. And that's where we're at right now. And the reason we're doing the stream tonight is because Tim and I had a very, well, not just Tim and I, but possibly thousands of our friends had a very odd thing happen. You see, as it happens, Tim had a group out there called, what was it? Ghost Squad, right? Ghost Squad.
Yeah.
It's a ghost hunting YouTube group. Now, I am a member of that group. I was also an admin for that group. Even though I didn't really participate, excuse me, I didn't really participate in it all that much.
Right.
Still, I watched all the posts and everything. And I got to tell you, there was no foul language. There were no threats, nothing weird going on. These are just people talking about ghost experiences. And that's all. That's
Right.
all. That's all it was. It's as free speech as anything can possibly be at that point. For whatever reason, and I'll let Tim tell the story here in just a moment. But on my end of it, I woke up this morning and, logged into my Facebook like I always do, a bunch of messages, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, it tells me that it gives me a message, something to the effect of my account has been deactivated. Click here to establish your identity or something. And then the link goes nowhere. All right. So anyway, so I'm off of Facebook now, and I've been on there since 2009. And don't get me wrong, there's some photos of guns and things like that on my Facebook, just like millions of other Facebook pages. But Tim brought up an interesting point. I'm also a Trump supporter. So we're looking at that angle at this point because it looks like a bunch of conservatives just got purged here. And not only that, but a lot of our friends who may or even may not be conservative have also been purged. Tim, would you like to tell your story?
Yeah. Yesterday, I was on Facebook for a while, and I had just been reinstated after a 24-hour Facebook jail period because I supposedly made a bad comment on somebody else's live stream, which was posted on Facebook. Well, after I got out of Facebook jail, they gave me a code to reinstate my Facebook ability to post. So I went on to my personal page, which is where I express my personal choice in who I believed in the presidential election of 2020. And because I was a supporter of Trump, I feel my channel was disabled. Now, what I'm going to say is this. They told me that my channel was disabled because of my Ghost Squad group, because I had violated community standards. There's nothing to violate with a benign channel. And I have a witness in Tommy Highway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were
and
targeted, man.
Thomas Bessler. And all I can say to you is this. It wasn't that. They're using that to cover their tracks. What they're doing is purging all conservative people, all people that are supporters of Trump, and anyone who is associated or affiliated with the person who was a supporter of Trump. So everybody who came onto my personal page and made a comment, their name was put on a list and their channels were most likely disabled as well. And that could lead to thousands of people, not just from my group, but every other newsworthy organization that was posting conservative videos, any groups that were posting supportive Trump issues, So think about it. We're talking possibly tens of thousands of people that were purged from Facebook.
Yeah, I can see it because I can see it right now because I can see the people on Facebook who are on my who are on my friend list. Not exactly sure why, but they're out there going and basically telling people to get the fuck off of Facebook, get on the Parler, get out of here. We don't want to hear your stuff. We don't want to hear your stuff, your particular views. Why don't you go over there where everyone talks the way you do? We don't want to hear you around here anymore. So we're seeing it coming from the organization where before the election, they were, everyone was warning about the great purge on Facebook, and it just continues to get bigger and bigger. And it'll continue to spiral.
What's funny about that, Thomas, is tens of thousands of people were leaving voluntarily anyway.
The 13th.
Right. Because of the election. Right. They were just leaving because of censorship and no freedom of speech, no freedom of choice anymore. I mean, it was Facebook was trying to decide for you what you believe in.
Right, exactly. But the thing was, out of all the people that I know, I didn't see anybody leaving who was in. I do have a lot of people from the right, the center, and from the left who are friends throughout the game industry, movie industry, Hollywood, all over the place. So, like California is full of fruits and nuts and a lot more. So, so you just have to, take it with everything. And that's what it's about. But the ones who are off to the left are really going these days, and they want to, kick you out because they don't want you there anymore. They don't want to hear this stuff. They don't want to see it because they think they won and they're right. And it's get out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's, again, with as far as the censorship of the media at this point, I mean, we look at any news channel at this point, even Fox at this point. I'm not even trusting, but
no,
they tell you, they show the public what they want you to see. And that Mika Brzezinski bitch, she actually came right out and said it once. She said, "Listen, hey, we tell you what to think." That's what,
right.
I mean, you can go out and look at that.
And it's not right now the Fox broadcasters or the broadcasters saying what the line is. It's Rupert Murdoch from the United Kingdom who's coming in here and playing and fucking around with the American people. Clear and simple. I mean, you still have Tucker, Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Greg Gutfeld, Judge Janine, and that's about the only core of Fox News that you can actually really listen to at this point, because everyone else is just bending over and listening.
There's that one lady, Baratomo I can't say her last name.
Baratomo?
Yeah, she is
I like her.
Breaking from the Fox brass.
Well, isn't she really high up in the organization?
Yes, but she's taking the stance of standing behind the Trump ideals.
Right. I mean, they even told what do you call it? Kaylee off the air when she was going and talking about the different allegations and things were going on, and they stopped her video, pulled her off and say, well, those are unfounded allegations. It's not true and everything else. And they don't know, but they're willing to pull all the freaking lies from the left at this point. So it's just, you can see, that total psyop against Trump that we've had going on the American people is now across all freaking channels.
Yeah. Oh, John, yeah. It's going to get worse. Here's the problem. Here's what people, if you're watching this stream or if you're catching it later or whatever, this is what you need to understand. The censorship that we're seeing right now is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
What it's going to get much, much worse until we won't get the real story anymore from anybody. And that's exactly what the Joe Biden administration is going to give us. Exactly what people want to hear. And there's Democrats out there that will scream, yay. I remember when Obama was campaigning his first term, before he was elected the first time, he was like, listen, your energy costs are going to skyrocket. And people went, yay, yay, our energy costs are going to skyrocket. People actually cheered for that. And that's the kind of mentality that we have out there in this country. And there's about 50% of the people, well, let's say 40% of the people out there that are mindless zombies. They're the children of those kids from the 70s, those cult kids, that had the after school specials. Okay. They're their children, and their children's children. It's a mess. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah. I agree with you. It is a big mess, and but it's going to, sometimes you need to make a bigger mess in order to clean up the main mess. And that's what we're heading towards right now.
Yep.
Because I ain't going to eat this shit pie. I'll take it from the movie The Helper, and they're bringing out that beautiful chocolate pie with the whipped cream on it and stuff. And, ringing the doorbell and freaking gobbling it up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to eat that pie. Libs, you can eat as much as you want. But, to repeat their line from 4 years ago, not my president, because he's not the president. He's not the legal president. He's not everyone in the media wants to make the decision of who won the election, and it's not their job. It's their job to go ahead and report where we're at, but it's gone way beyond speculation. It's just going to continue.
Right. And right now, as it stands, he's no longer president-elect either, according to the vote count.
Yeah.
Today, Trump was awarded Alaska and North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Not projected. He was awarded both states.
Yeah, I think there was an article I saw about that today. It's like put Trump's at like 230 something and Biden at 214 or something. Where's that at?
It's going to be very interesting. There's going to be some hand counts here. The Pennsylvania thing is going to be interesting, but there's supposed to be some hand counting in Georgia, because I mean the people of Georgia, those people are rednecks and they are pissed off. They're heavily armed rednecks. The government is aware of this. I mean, the National Guard can't contain the American people. We just armed for war like I've never seen us armed before. I've never seen a gun buy. Not even the 94 thing was nothing even close to what we're doing right now. You can't find ammo right now. I mean, think about that.
I heard that. A lot of people are buying tracer rounds.
Because it's all they can find. Yeah. I mean,
right.
It's I mean, a tracer will kill, don't get me wrong, but it's crazy. We have armed this country. We've been arming for months, if not a year or so. And sooner or later, we're going to tie into it. Now, listen, it's like I've been saying, and I want you to listen to this if you're watching this video, folks. If we can no longer trust our electoral process, we are no longer a free people. And that's just the bottom line here.
Right.
So one of two things is going to have to happen. Either the government's going to have to capitulate, which is probably not going to happen, or the people are going to have to rise up. We're going to have to tear this shit down, this wonderful country, okay, because we've got two obvious diametrically opposed ideas here going on, just like we did in the first Civil War.
Yeah. Hey, let me show some numbers here, guys.
Please. Go for it.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
Excuse me for just a moment. I'm going to kill my camera for just a sec.
I just went and shared it. Tim, can you approve that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. This is where we're at as of today at 10:30 a.m. Trump is at 232 electoral votes. Biden's only at 227. If you take Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia out of play, which they should be because of the lawsuits and the crooked things that are going on, this is where we're at today. But this is not what you're hearing in the media because they don't want you to hear it.
Right.
Wow.
And I heard we have a very good chance of winning Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And possibly Michigan.
Tim, this might be a great time to roll that video in, brother.
Okay. I got a video to play. It's showing the the pollsters in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, fraudulently filling out ballots on the 6th of November, 3 days after the election. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Oops, I got to stop sharing for a second. Hold on. No, there's no sound. Okay. All right. Here we go. There's no sound, but they'll zoom in, I think. That guy on the right, he's filling out the ballot, and then he will take the stamp and backdate it.
Yeah.
We can easily identify that ballot. It's very easy to identify that.
Yeah.
Watch, he'll take the stamp, backdate it.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. When we had the issue going in Florida and we had the hanging chads, were they allowed to go ahead and create new punch cards for the people, or did they have to run the ones that were created by the voters?
Correct. That's exactly what they had to do. You betcha. Because some people just like perforated the paper a little bit, like put like dimple in it.
Yeah.
So they had a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent look at every damn one of those and determine what the voter intent was.
Right.
Okay? That
Yeah,
was
it's
the
not
whole
just a
thing.
voter intent. I mean, yeah, there's a voter intent, but it comes down to, is it legal for what they did? Not just to take what they did and try to manually correct every single ballot that people did. You have to look at it and say, first of all, does this qualify legally as a ballot? And if it doesn't, then you have to disqualify it. Now, if there's a question, go ahead, Tim.
But look how fast he's filling it out. He's not
Yeah.
verifying anything.
No,
Oh, hell
He's
no.
not even signing it.
it's because he's done thousands of them. That's
He's done
why.
thousands of them. He's doing it real fast.
Right.
So there's no verification. There's no vetting of the actual ballot.
No, of course not. It's absolute fraud. It's young people. Look at that. Now, Tim and I were talking about this backstage before the show. When I was that age, when I was a young person like that, I knew that tampering with an election was wrong. Okay. I knew that. It's like nobody had to teach me that. It's like nobody had to teach me, hey, Tommy, don't fling your feces on your bedroom wall. No one had to teach me that one. Okay. I knew it was right from wrong. And those kids right there don't. And that's disturbing to me. That's very, very disturbing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's just too much. There's too much effort going on trying to go ahead and take the votes that are there and count them for their candidate versus, looking at the legal definition of what a vote is, because it's not just interpretation. There's a law behind all of this stuff. And,
Sure.
and there's been too many places where people are just extending their own interpretation over what the real laws are and making up their own stuff as they're going along. And like we're seeing in so many of these states. And, there's a damn good chance this whole election is going to get thrown out.
I tell you, if it doesn't at this point, again, I mean, it just comes down to, if we can't trust our electoral process, then, we're going to we have to do something about that. It cannot stand. I mean, we're Americans. Right. This is how we live. And, we're either we're a free people or we're not. And again, if we're not a free people, then we're going to have to fight for our freedom yet again. But, I mean, it can be done. And the country is so well armed right now. Here's the thing. When I was writing my book, Get Trump, which, by the way, folks, not to throw a plug in here, but please visit TommyHighway.com, purchase a copy of Get Trump. It's even more relevant than ever now. But when I was doing the research for this book, I said, okay, how big is our military? I mean, our entire military. I'm talking about not just the personnel that are in the country, but everybody else, right? All over the world.
Hey, Tommy, any promotions going on signed copies?
Now I should do that. I need to be able to do that. Yeah. Look into that. But anyway, if you take the entire military as a whole, right, and you bring everybody back, every pair of rubber boots that we have, you bring everybody from all over the world back into this country, there's still not enough boots on the ground to even cover the major population centers. So you've got middle-sized cities like Des Moines, Iowa, Dayton, Ohio. Well, Dayton's got right, Pat, so that may be a bad example, but Toledo, Ohio.
Yep.
The list goes, Scranton, Pennsylvania. The list goes on and on. These are small towns that they're not going to see any military activity there. So these are going to be lawless areas. And I keep telling the women in my life, I'm like, listen, if you don't already have this, you need to get yourself a heavily armed badass in your life, because, pretty soon the cops are going to walk off like you voted for. And then you're going to be subjected to what this country can produce and what this country does to women. Think about how many weird things we hear about happening to women on a daily basis. I mean, and that's when we have law and order, when we have social order, we have, a police presence. What happens when that police presence dissipates?
What's going to happen to the donut lady who makes all the great glazed donuts,
Exactly. Well, she's got she has a heavily armed badass at home.
Good.
Yeah, she does have one, but that's a rare thing.
I have to point out a comment in the chat room. Urban Insight said, those kids that are filling out the ballots, they know right from wrong, understand where the world is socially, no jobs, heightened stress. Mm-hmm. If offered the right amount of cash, a lot of people would do it, not fully understanding the political, and I think he meant ramifications.
Yeah, I would have got that at that age. I would have got that as a kid. I mean, I knew better. I mean, my God, I had a grandfather who was in World War II, a couple uncles that were in Vietnam. I mean, come on.
And my grandmother was in Poland during World War I, and she was in, she had the Germans and the Russians, and the Germans and the Russians come in, and she'd talk about how they freaking take her by the hair and slam her up against the wall. That was the Russians. The Germans were nice, but yeah, it was. I
have to honestly say one thing: Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Today is Veterans Day. I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
100%.
Thank you
We
so
wouldn't be
much,
here
folks.
today if it wasn't for the
right.
lives that were given and the lives that were dedicated to our country and serving our democracy and keeping us going for where we're at today.
And the blood and the sweat and the tears that they have to go through on a daily basis, and plus all the bullshit I'm sure they have to go through as well. Thank you, folks. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the ones that came home that are still here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of them. Anyways. Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Which one were you in on? Desert Strike?
No, I wasn't. I was out before then.
Okay.
I was in for 4 years. I was a U.S. Army, regular Army. I was a multiple launch rocket systems fire direction specialist. I had an E5 hard strike rank when I got out. I was up for E6, but I got hurt on maneuvers, and they said I'd either be commandeering a desk for the rest of my enlistment, or I could leave. And I waited till the end of my 4 years, and then I got out.
Yeah, well, at least you got. I mean, we appreciate your service, and not only to the Army, but to UFO Man.
Yeah, there you go. What I'm going to say is this: in regards to if we brought all those military people home, okay, and we had a peaceful world, which won't happen because there's always good and evil. What I'm going to say to you is this: I don't think that would even account for all the votes that were fraudulently created in this election.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to make another point. You just said something that kind of woke something up in my mind. Not only do we not have enough military to handle, again, the major population centers, but also when you're going after Americans, you got a problem. The police are going to have a problem. The National Guard is going to have the same problem. The military is going to have the same problem. At the end of the day, even if you're white or black, we all kind of look alike. I mean, we do. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? You got bullets flying everywhere. What are you going to do? Walk in and wipe the whole area out? Of course they're not going to do that. The military is not going to get involved in a conflict for quite some time, gentlemen.
Yeah, if they do, it's going to be something to restore order to the streets when Antifa and everything else and the Marxist movement continues to go up because, they've made it clear. We don't care who the fuck won the presidential election.
Right. They don't
We
care.
hate America. And that's what they're about. And that's what the core of a lot of the movement comes out for Black Lives Matter. There was another thing I had sent to Tim earlier tonight.
Thank you.
Where it basically goes and spells out, what do you call me? Bring this up here. Again, sorry. Here we go. Maybe a bunch of white slave owners in the 1700s did not come up with the best government ever. This is the kind of shit that's going around on Facebook right now. Let me bring it up and I'll share this one here too. Let me go to share screen. All right. Here we go. This is the kind of shit that's being sent around on Facebook, and they're not taking people down for. Right. It's stuff that goes against the core of what America is, what our country is about, what our presidency is about, what our day-to-day lives are about. And they're trying from every single angle they can to freaking tear down our country, tear down our flag, and tear down our republic and bring anarchy in everyone because they don't want anything we have. And that's where the Democrats get it wrong and Black Lives Matter gets it wrong. We all have to really come together as a country. We have to come together as a people. Call it earthlings or bring in a bigger cause, whatever, but it just comes down to it. We have to, see ourselves as one. The small fracturing and splintering that we've got going on is the same shit we see in religion. One thing is 10% different from another. So you're all going to go to hell. We're going to burn you all. We're going to kill you all. And we're going to keep ourselves. And we're the only ones who are going to be saved. We have to look at ourselves as a whole.
I got to say, I do believe in unification, but I have to say not under the New World Order.
No, hell no. And that's what the agenda is and what the Democrats have been trying to get in place with their 30-year plan, if you want to call it, for this new global government that's run by the UN, by the World Health Organization, all these external entities that are basically controlling our country when we should be a sovereign entity.
You know, they're planning on bringing in the United Nations to quell the aggression in the streets that might occur after a reversal of the election.
Oh God, give me some blue helmets to shoot at. Oh, please give me some blue helmets to shoot at. Absolutely. Oh, nice big blue target. Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
We have what we need here. We have police. We have people who can get in play and do the situation. But it's a matter of them taking those freaking handcuffs that their local politicians and things have put in play that prevent them from doing the job that we're paying them to do.
The cops are out of here. I'm telling you right now. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough money to be a cop right now, because it's like that California thing here. Just what was the last couple of weeks ago? That cop, that means clearly a good shoot, no question about it. I mean, the guy was coming at him with a knife or something. A knife it was, and the cop shot him, and all of a sudden now it's a big problem. The cop's been charged with, I think, manslaughter, I believe it was. So you want to take a job where when you do your job, you're going to get arrested,
right? But it all comes down to the people who have the passion for what they're doing to bring law and order, but also giving the tools and technology we have available today to make a change. For instance, take something like the freaking Oculus Quest. You know, you can get it for like $350 now or $299 for the base model. Now, imagine taking every scenario a cop is going to have to deal with and drop them in it today, to where now in VR, they're getting that experience firsthand, and the adrenaline pumps, and it's a situation that they're dealing with. And there's all these things we can talk to them about, but there's nothing we can give them to actually go ahead and help their mind get through this stuff and see it. So when it really happens in life, they're freaking ready for it. They're not. We're just throwing them out there and expecting them to know Antifa's tactics, all these different things that are going on, how to deal with all these kind of protests and looting and everything. That's never been anything part of their job. But now, you know, it's a matter of figuring out we can't do it, but it's also figuring out how can we do it. And always all I hear is people figuring out, know this, know that, whatever it is. But it's really about finding something simple that we can scale and take that and help and give the cops the edge they need to deal with all the shit that's going on now, because they're unprepared in a lot of respects, and I respect every single one of them. And there's things going on where they're getting chased by people with knives, chased with people with guns. They're getting shot at. Different things are happening. Adrenaline's running, and they're human like everybody else, and they're just soldiers. And they're going to have things that are going to go on because they're human. But if we don't help them, we can't help ourselves.
Right. I think it's time, though, that some of these cops that are being restrained by government orders should go against those government orders and rise up. I mean, they have the armament, and they have the numbers.
Yes.
Did you see those federal cops that they sent in? I think it was Portland or someplace.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, they call them freaking RoboPig and everything up on the
oh my God,
the live streams. It was freaking killer.
Well,
you know,
I mean,
whoop, whoop, here come the police, you know, and they're just freaking marching out there, and just they were
their asses.
Cameras they had it up and everything. They were physically going and identifying people, and they had people in their ears telling them that's the person you need to go and get with the displays they had, and they would all of a sudden all of them just rush in on a certain people and go out and attack them. So you had the regular things going on, but you also had the things coming in where they're following up after the protests that happened the day before and everything, and going to people who they had evidence on and going and freaking pulling them out of the crowd and hauling their ass away and taking them to jail, because you're not going to see the prosecutor for the city of Portland or the state of Oregon doing shit, but the federal prosecutors, they're throwing the book at these people, and they need to be.
Sure. Well, for now they are. They are for now. But if the Biden regime gets in there, you can forget about that shit. You can forget about all of that. In fact, they're going to defund the shit out of the police. I'm telling you, the women that actually went and voted for Biden, it's just, why don't you just go ahead and just slice your own throat? Why don't you do that? But
It's not just the women.
Okay.
It's across the board. It's people from the left and everything. And the problem is, it's the psyop, the psychological operation that's
I'm
been
just
pulled
saying
on the American people by the mainstream media. And if you continually talk about someone in a negative way, put a negative spin on everything, take everything with a splinter of truth and twist it for a lie, you're gonna go ahead and take a lot of sheeple. And you're going to freaking pull them into one particular direction. And that's exactly what they did.
My point being is women being the most vulnerable to walk in there and cut a single woman walking in there and cutting her own throat by voting for Biden. They're going to defund the cops. And again, there's cops. They're retiring in mass all over the country in mass. Yeah. And there's nobody to replace it. My dad once, I remember my dad talked about this once because I used to kind of be a bit of a cop hater. And I still think a lot of the crap that the cops are going through, they did kind of bring on themselves.
I'll be on the record.
Yeah.
The police in Mill Creek, where I live here, are freaking crooked. The way they treat people, the way they prejudge people, the way they come in and push the authority on people. It's freaking disgusting for what I've seen happen to my neighbors in the area with different disputes and different things, to where a cop comes in and they act like judge, jury, and prosecutioner, and they treat the people like that up front, rather being that impartial person and impartial cop that they should be.
That's unfortunate.
I know.
I think that happens all over the country.
I know.
Here too.
Again, you need to be able to rein it in. Give them that, simulation that you're throwing them into, and put them through it every so often. Put them through it 3, 4, 5 times a week. Every cop could have one of these things, And we see there's behaviors and how they're acting through stuff, going out through the scenarios. We get a good idea that's how they're dealing with stuff in life. So that it gives you an ability to, a cop is a big, huge person. There's a lot of things that they deal with in their life. I call it like the focus on life for what they're doing. And if someone's out here with their focus, it's sometimes hard to bring it in if you don't have the information and understand what they're going through.
I believe it still is, but it used to be the highest profession with divorce rate.
Yeah. Well, go figure. The stress it deals with.
I couldn't do it. There's no way in hell. I don't have the temperament for it. I mean, you spit on me, I'm going to blow your face off. Fuck that.
Think of it like you're in Iraq or Iran and you're policing the local population. That's kind of the situation, but it's not like you're on tour for a period of time and you come off. That's your job permanently.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, well, at this point, I mean, we're up such shit creek right now. It's almost unbelievable. No matter what happens, no matter who wins this election, we're going to have a problem here, folks. It's going to happen. Okay. This is going to happen. It's unfortunate that it's going to happen. I've been telling everybody, my mother, everybody else, go out and get food that doesn't expire. I'm talking about food that's like dry beans and rice. Get the freeze-dried stuff if you can, but I mean, at least get the essentials and get a lot of it, because you're going to need a lot of it.
And make sure you get beans that you actually like and you can use for a lot of things, because, back in February, before the whole COVID thing happened, and we got, the 25 for 50-pound bags of red beans and black beans. You make sure it's a bean that you can do a lot of stuff with.
Sure.
And not just a couple things. So, but yes, stock up, but stock up smartly and get something that you can, prescribe to and just eat on a regular basis, because the less you go out and deal with some of this stuff, sometimes it's a bit better for you, because I have family members back in the Midwest, and COVID is what it is. My brother recently got it in Northern Illinois. My sister recently got it in Central Illinois. So it's out there, it's going around, and we all know it's not the greatest thing you want to get with because of the short-term or long-term effects, but it's not something you have to be afraid of that's going to go freaking kill you, because we have the science, we have the drugs and everything else that can go ahead and take care of it for you. Take that everything down to that 99.97% that you're going to survive this damn thing.
It's not Ebola, it's not hemorrhagic fever, it's nothing like that.
No.
So it's not a mass killer.
No, it's not.
Regular.
When you take a really sick person with a really unique and new disease, and you put them into an old person and you send them right back to their old folks home, you're trying to kill old people, which is exactly what Cuomo did here.
And the senator of the state of Washington, because they were all going out there and they were promoting that, hey, if you take this person with COVID, the daily amount we're going to pay is $100 a day more than a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing it in a method, even though they knew it was dangerous and how contagious it was, especially in Washington, because this was 3 weeks after that huge infection that took place and took the country by storm as the first major place. The Department of Health in the state of Washington was going out and promoting, saying, hey, take these people in because you can earn more money off it. So they were trying to incentivize it versus thinking about public safety. And where's all this shit happening? In the freaking Democratic-run cities and states.
Sure.
Yeah, I live in a Democratic state, and I can honestly say that the hospitals locally near where I live are have incentives to label every death COVID related, because when they do that, they get a chunk of that last stimulus payment that came out.
Now in Washington state, they have it where they won't call it a death unless COVID was the primary death. So if you die from something else and you also had COVID, let's say you had fatal cancer and you're going through it and you die and you had COVID, they're not going to count it because your primary cause of death is cancer versus COVID. Now, COVID, long term, it can fuck with your brain, it can screw with your heart, it can deal with immune system issues. Because I had MMR vaccine about 18 years ago. I had warts in both of my freaking hands, both of my feet, and I did research on it. And the only way I found that you could take care of it was to inject a mumps vaccine into the wart, and it causes an immune system reaction where it teaches your body how to take care of the shit. Well, they did that. But when they did it, they didn't use mumps vaccine, they used MMR, and they injected it into multiple fingers, multiple hands, multiple feet. It was horrible, but when they did it, within 6 weeks, all my warts were gone. And it's been like 18 years, and I haven't had another wart since, and I've had warts my entire life. Wow. So it just kind of shows that they can do stuff to change it. Now, what they found out is, if you do research on MMR vaccine COVID-19, it's highly effective at changing how the body reacts to the freaking to COVID. So rather than getting a new vaccine that's going to do all this crazy new stuff, because the stuff they inject with MMR resembles COVID-19, the body has a reaction to it. It's not so bad. Why are kids not having the issue they're having today? It's because they have the updated version of that particular vaccine that hit about 20 years ago. And you're going to see all of a sudden at age 20 where everything falls off. Now, when I got COVID, I couldn't figure out why in the hell was I getting, symptoms of what kids got. But it wasn't about what the kids got. Why did the kids have and why did the adults? And not until the light bulb went off and it was like, hey, you've got that freaking MMR vaccine. And I researched it, and sure enough, boom. And that's why Taiwan right now, which is right next to freaking China, it's an island right off the coast. Tons of people from Hong Kong and China come over there all the time. They've only had like 7 deaths of COVID for 22 million people, like under 500 reported cases. Why? Because a couple of years ago, they had a mandatory vaccine for freaking inoculation for the entire island with MMR. Now, I know a lot of people don't like vaccines and other stuff that goes along with it, but it just goes to show you there's stuff off the shelf we have here today that can help us get beyond this stuff that the Dems are trying to throw at everything and throw the election and everything else because we have this horrible, deadly disease that we can't figure out. No, we figured it out. There are ways to do it, but we just have to open your eyes, look at the big picture of stuff, and be able to, get through it.
Well,
sorry if I talk too much, Tommy, but
it's all right. Basically at this point, we've got multiple problems going on at one time in this country, obviously. But the COVID thing, we've had those COVID viruses have been around forever. This is not like it's a new thing. This just happens to be a very contagious one.
Well, this one was created.
According to the CDC, 94% of the fatalities are people that had underlying health conditions.
Right.
What I don't like,
when you have underlying stuff going along with it, it's much more deadly.
Right. But my point being is that how they're counting deaths right now for COVID. Let's say you've got a person A standing right here, okay? And person A either had COVID and recovered from it, or was and got really sick and recovered from it, or one of those people that got it and didn't even know that it had the damn thing. Anyway, they now have an antibody for it. So person A is now walking down the street, minding their own business, step off a curb, bam, get slammed by a bus. All right. Their cause of death isn't the bus, isn't the pavement, isn't any of that. Because when they're going to do a postmortem on them, sure as hell they're going to do that. And when they do, they're going to say, "Oh, this person has COVID-19 antibodies." Well, that's what killed them. And that's what I don't like about how they're counting it.
Yeah, but
that's
they
that's
changed
crazy.
that in Washington State, at least. It's only certain states. It depends on the state and the state Department of Health. Because at one time they changed their calculation format, at least, of how they were counting it, and it came down to COVID had to be the primary cause of death, not anything else. And there was actually a huge negative with regards to the total number of COVID cases that were reported in the past to go ahead and compensate for that recalculation.
Okay, well, that's which needs to happen, and I suspect that when everything settles out here, we're going to see a confirmed death rate, a hell of a lot lower than what we're seeing right now.
Well, it's already really low. If you look at the surge that happened going on in January, February, March, and you look at how many cases that were going on, and you look at the number of cases we have now, in the case of in the cases of death we had back in March. And you look at where we're at now for the total number of cases we have and the total number of deaths. We have over 4 times the number of cases going on right now, 3 to 4 times in Washington State from what we had back then. Yet we have a fraction of the total deaths we had back when there was a lot smaller number of cases. Sure. And it's because we have our therapeutics and other things. The Chinese didn't go ahead and buy up all the protection we needed to slow things down and ship it all back to China and screw the whole freaking world, because that's what really freaking happened.
Tim, what are your thoughts?
I didn't catch a lot of that because I was taking a mailroom break. But
I gotcha.
Catch me up on what you said, and then I'll give you my answer.
Oh boy, that's a tough.
Yeah, we kind of you had to be there, man. You had to be there.
Oh my god, yeah. Hey, what are our viewers say? They've been listening to us more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to actually, I wanted to bring a couple of them into attention.
John Bruno said that's how they created the pandemic.
And Urban Insight, crazy, but again, they need numbers to maintain the state of fear. Yes. And I agree with that. Absolutely, you nailed it. I mean,
that's exactly
couldn't have been said better. And that's what this is all about. That's what the Democrats do, though, and the Democrat voter doesn't understand this because they're weak-minded. Like NRA, another a killer buzzword for them. That's a trigger word. NRA, AR-15, another trigger word. Now you had respirator. Oh God, not enough respirators. It turns out we had plenty of respirators. They weren't even using the damn things and bitching they didn't have them. That's another Cuomo thing. What are some of the other ones?
Guns.
Oh, masks. How about masks? Oh, got to have masks. Put a mask on your face, your genitals, whatever. I mean, it goes on and on. And
right.
Now, always a buzzword.
Here's one little, if I could just interject one little small thing. Mm-hmm. Now, if you Google and you search, I wish I could show them up now. Next time I will. And you look at the pictures of what the scientists were wearing when they detected the base strain of this virus that they actually modified to what we have here today. The outfits they had on, the masks they had on, everything completely matches what you saw every single EMT and everything in China going when they got it in mass manufacturing. They knew exactly what they were dealing with. They knew how to go ahead and, reduce the amount of exposure people can get for it, because even no matter how many layers you wear, you're still going to get exposed to it. It's just being able to reduce it. And when it's first happened here in Washington State, and I saw what the emergency workers were wearing when they were taking the people out of the freaking nursing home when it happened, it was just like, oh my God, you feel sorry for them because they're getting such a high dose of the exposures, what's going on, because we didn't have what we needed. We weren't prepared for anything that came across, yet the Chinese were completely ready for it.
I just wanted to just say one thing, just kind of off topic here. Listen, everybody, Mother Highway, Candy is my mother. Mother Highway's here, and Mother Highway got kicked off of Facebook today. Do you believe that shit? Give her a shout out if you would, guys.
Hey, Candy, good to see you in the chat. And if you're there and you want to, scroll up and maybe you can get the link and come on the panel.
You can't have life without Candy. Come on board. We'd appreciate it. We'd love to hear you here. You've got a laptop, probably an iPad, an iPhone, something that works, and even an Android device.
Oh, dude, I just set her up with a full-blown studio, dude. I hooked my mom up, man.
Well, let's bring her on. Come on, Candy.
She may have I think she's working at the moment actually. So
yeah, well, that sucks. Well, we appreciate her service no matter what she's doing at this point because we know it's at night and
she's a high-end psychic, man.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we get it. Sometimes it's a gift. Sometimes it comes with the cost.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
one thing I want to show is a lot of people are going to alternative platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, please.
One of the platforms that I'm recommending is MeWe. It's capital M, small e, capital W, small e. One word, MeWe. I have a picture of it here, so I can bring it up and show it. Okay. This is what MeWe looks like. Hold on a minute here. Why isn't it going up?
Bring up your site, Tim. Show us your baby.
Tommy has to bring it up on the screen. I can't. There it is.
Sorry.
Okay. There's MeWe. You got your header. You got your, your avatar, whatever, right? It's got pages, events, groups, chats, and home. Okay. There's even a MeWe store. So you can make posts in your chat just like you would with Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can also make groups. Now, for instance, I have groups. So I have UFO Man, which used to be on Facebook. And to all my Facebook subscribers, to UFO Man, and to all my viewers on Facebook, please come over to MeWe and you can find me there.
Yeah.
Also,
can we view the page without being a member? Do we need to be logged in to see you?
No, you do not need to be a member to go on to MeWe. You just go on and browse it.
Can you share your link in the chat?
Okay, let me see where it is.
That'd be great because I'm sure everyone else would like to see the site and everything. And
yeah, I want in. I like that already. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I have an actual presidential page. It's called the 46th President.
Nice.
Some people disagree with that, but
Urban Insight, not sure about that one, buddy. We don't know much about it yet.
Then I have my other group, Ghost Squad. That's there.
That's the one that got us killed right there. Is it the Target? Is that what did it? Is it the Ghost Squad? And they just assumed that it was
on a freaking empty skull. So
yeah, but I mean, if to the average liberal, look at that. Let's take a look at that photo again, Tim.
Yeah, I see nothing there that says you're killing a human life.
I don't either, but then again, I can. But with these some millennial pulled the plug on us is what happened.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, are we talking some millennials or some millennial from China?
Well, no, it's probably a millennial in the United States. They don't give a shit what we do in China.
Oh, they've got companies in China who are viewing a lot of this stuff. It's not just people in the U.S. who are pulling the shots here.
Have issues with Facebook collecting your data. Privacy first. Alternative MeWe surges to 9 million users because at least 5 million of those users came from Facebook.
Yeah.
So
some weak-kneed millennial. I'm going to tell you right now what's happened. Some weak-kneed millennial in charge. See, the problem I have with this is that some kid is in charge of our freedom of speech here. That's what's happening. Or some person like that. They're playing God with us. And look, they probably saw that photo.
Yeah, but you got to remember
that
that kid who's making those decisions is following the direction from someone above them. So it's not just people who are going and acting in an inconcerted manner. There's people in leadership positions that are making this shit happen. And we have to be willing to call out the responsibility for where it lies. It's not getting cut and everything because someone down here deep in the freaking, bowels of Facebook has decided to make this decision. This is coming from the top or
Well,
somewhere in the middle.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure that's that direction from the top. But my point being is that these kids, and Harold is in the chat right now. He and I worked at Microsoft. You'd be surprised how much leeway that they give these people. All right. And so it could be anybody doing this. Somebody just saw that and pulled the damn plug on everybody. They just killed probably thousands of users on Facebook. Thousands. Yeah. I mean, I don't care anymore. Like I was telling Tim earlier, most of the photos that I really wanted to have, I've still got on. I have a backup of every smartphone I've ever had, so I've got all that crap. But I mean, it's just ridiculous that it had to come to that, especially for such a benign group, like Tim said, benign group. And I've been watching these posts. There's no nudity. There's no nothing. There's nothing that could possibly. Yeah, it wouldn't violate the terms of service of a freaking church.
They're just using those groups as a way to explain their actions, because their real action was to eliminate Trump supporters and anyone who is affiliated or associated with them. That is the fact. And I can't verify it, but I'm pretty sure that's
you should be able to go ahead and, based on their terms of service, ask them specifically where were the terms of service violated, because you're not clear on the ruling as to why. So you need to know, and they should, they should be able to provide it to you and give you that information. Just don't freaking back down and just escalate it as high as you freaking need to, because it's just freaking wrong.
Yeah, Harold, that does suck, brother, for real. But we'll get on Mayway, and I'm gonna get on over there tomorrow. I've been up for more than 24 hours now, so I need to sleep. But and I tried Parler. Parler is interesting, but no, it just seems like I just can't. It's hard to sort out. I don't know, Tim.
Parler is a lot like Twitter, where you actually make a post and then people either like it or dislike it, and then they make a comment on it, and that's pretty much the only way you can comment to someone else on Parler is if you make what they call a parlay, which is a post.
So basically, about Instagram without pictures.
No, you can actually put up pictures. You can put up videos,
links, and shit.
What Instagram is, you search for different things. It brings up stuff in your feed based on the tags, and then depending on the post, go ahead and build it. And it's not like you can follow people and listen to your stuff, but it's a different friends thing than Facebook is.
Right. You can't just easily go out and find a friend that you used to find on Facebook. You can't. It's not that easy. I mean, I had a hard time finding Tommy.
To me, well, hey, so's the IRS. No, it seems to be what somebody did there was they said, let's take the best parts of every social media system out there. Let's try to put them together in one spot, and it just didn't work. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I haven't given it a fair enough shake. That's true. I'm not trying to get sued by Parler here.
Oh, wow.
But I looked at it a couple times here in the last couple of days. The last 24 hours actually, since we got killed, since we're no longer among the living. And the girl that I talk to at work a lot, she's kind of iffy on it. But this Mayway thing, what you just demonstrated there, Tim, I think that might be the way to go, folks. I'm going to recommend that at this point until I can tell you otherwise. I'm going to go check it out for real. It looks very Facebook-ish. Right. Which is what we're looking for, and no bullshit. We can actually speak our minds. And again, I'm not saying that you should be able to post pornography or threaten anyone or anything like that. I'm not saying you should be able to do those things, but I also think that right. But freedom of speech is freedom of speech. You know what I mean? And there's always some leeway there, and we used to be able to get that with Facebook, and now we don't. I mean, at all, apparently. And again, Tim, I cannot imagine that group getting all those people shut down. I cannot imagine that happening.
Well, I don't think it's just my group. Like I said, I think it's a lot of different groups that were supportive of the Trump administration. I don't think it was just groups either. I think it was also newsworthy organizations that were posting pro-Trump video clips on Facebook. I think they were removed as well. In fact, one of the channels that I follow called the Next News Channel was removed off Facebook. And they're really going strong now on YouTube. They're at 1.5 million subscribers. Damn. So thank you, YouTubers. Really appreciate that.
Well, listen, gentlemen, again, I've been up for more than 24 hours. We've almost done an hour show. Let's just go ahead and give our final thoughts. Tim, would you like to begin?
Before we do that, do you want to point out that comment from John Bruno down below there? Did you see the Secretary of State's last interview? The body language and confidence is very telling.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was a bit nervous.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people that are out in the streets celebrating the Biden election before it was declared are going to get a rude awakening. Either way it goes.
Saying the least, completely. I hear it.
Whether Trump wins or not, there are going to be massive changes, and what they voted for were the promises made, not the actions that are going to take place.
No, they're not going to get promises made, promises kept. They're going to get something that was very vague up front and something they really didn't want to take.
Right. They're going to learn the truth. So what I'm going to say tonight is thank you, Tommy Highway, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Everybody go out and please subscribe to Tommy Highway TV. We'd like to get them above 200 subs, if not even higher than that.
Need 2,000, but at least 200 to start.
1,000 would be nice. If we could get them up to 1,000.
I'll get banned way before that, I promise.
No, you're not monetized, are you?
No, but still.
Yeah, so you can get away with a lot of shit when you're not monetized. I've watched Polyfrog64 and his coverage of the what do you call it? All the protests going on all summer, and yeah, it takes a lot to get kicked off when you're not a partner.
Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
I'm a partner, so I have issues.
Oh, Tim, yeah. So Bobby, we can have fun over here.
Bobby Broadway, hello, brother.
Yeah, Bobby Broadway, good to see you.
Yeah,
and
so
John
guys,
Bruno.
I'd like to keep it going, guys, but I got to tell you, I am absolutely pushed. I've been up for like 26 hours now. It's time for me to go sleep. But listen, I want to thank my panelists for coming out, Tim and Thomas. Gentlemen, thank you as always. Folks, I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is fantastic. It's unfortunate that our country has actually come to this. I mean, if my grandfather were alive today, he died about, 12, 13 years ago or so. Yeah, well, 08. But if he were alive today after fighting World War II and all that, I can't imagine what he'd be thinking right now.
You'll have your mom. She's a psychic. Find out what he thinks.
Wow. That's her, that's her father, man.
Huh? I know. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thanks a lot. You folks, stay tuned. We're going to have more live streams for sure. As we go along here, we'll be updating with the election, things like that. But anyway, folks, I appreciate it. And I am Tommy Highway, folks, and we are out of here. Thanks for coming by.
Good night, everybody. Have a great one.